So I actually want to use one of our past cohort partners as example, since we were helping them with recruiting for this role. And this was actually interesting because this cohort was from like 5 or 6 cohorts ago. So a lot of the members working on the role actually ended up getting a job somewhere. So they were like, we might need help staffing it again. So, like just to go over this really quickly, like there were crazy amount of applicants that applied. I was able to distill some data, people were reaching out to me about the role. Obviously it was in my company, I was hiring for it, but I think the applicant quality was really good. So I think this is probably something some of you might be interested in, which was like, so what is the statistical breakdown? Because numbers, don't lie. And this was what I looked at. So, this might be stressful to you depending on what kind of bucket you fall into. But you might feel like, well, for a lot of these folks, like they're not even getting a fair shot. And that's sort of why a lot of the cohort early ideas were designed, because there's a huge gap between academic and industries. And honestly, like the best way to sort of show your skills, network, and get that role is not something covered by like these ideas of boot camps or certificates. And an interesting trend was also, even if you land in the top bucket, it's still fairly competitive, because a lot of master's programs right now, especially like cohort members too, they finish a master's or they're currently in a master's, but they still don't have strong enough projects, right? Like they don't have internship or work experience. So not only that makes it hard for them to land a big tech role, like even when working with startups, because they just have so many candidates to look through, as long as a paid opportunity, it gets quite competitive. So I'm going to skip past a lot of this content, but we do have a lot of past resources on Design Buddies or UXGO past LinkedIn Lives, where we have alumni talk about like how it was like for them to go through the cohorts, land jobs, go through that process. There's also a lot of current cohort members who are about to present, and there's like the upcoming cohort. Could I have everyone from cohort 18 quickly wave as well? So they're going to be the folks presenting. They just finished. They did an amazing job. And actually something that was really cool was I saw some like alumni from like 3 years ago who were on our like interview prep resources a long time ago. So I actually added a slide of just for you. So yeah. So I'll give you a shout out in a bit. So the big idea of all this is like, we really want to be realistic. So if you feel like the stats I shared, like you're just new to design, you feel like those numbers I shared really scares you, like I want that, right? Because I don't want you to think that the sort of messaging or the idea of like, I'm going to do a boot camp or a certificate in 3 months, I'm going to land a role is a realistic thing, So I want to first just paint that. And I really want everyone to just have this idea that at the end of the day, even though there's something tough to break in, like you can work hard, get your own achievements, and then really secure something interesting for yourself. And that philosophy, like rewarding excellence, and then really celebrating, like your own personal achievements through our support is a big reason why we do mutual selection. So every cohort, especially the ones that are upcoming for 18 and 19, combined, we've interviewed over like 100 folks that tried to join. So you might be like, well, if we're like trying to join like a program to study, like why do we even need to be interviewed at this stage? So sharing a little bit of the story, the cohort was something Hannah and I actually started working on before we even graduated ourselves. And the big reason we noticed was like, one of the biggest things that helped me was I was getting a full-time role at big tech before I even graduated. So people are asking me like, how is that possible? Because we're struggling to get interns. So I realized from the design world, the hiring people really care about your work experience, right? And if you can tell the story about how your work experience connects with what you're learning in school, that's how they also really value your education. But if you come in empty-handed with just an education in theory, that's not going to cut it in 2025 anymore, because now there are so many master's HCI program, right? I've done a lot of guest lecturing at universities, like almost every school has multiple programs now. This was one of the workshops we were doing at CMU a few years ago. We've continued to partner with them and do these recruitment workshops every year. So there's this idea that it's designing the designer and bridging the gap. So Aaron, this was the slide I edited, and then I put your image up there. So that's Aaron, very handsome. So we have a lot of alumni, right? And the reason why this really worked, and a lot of our alumni stay active, like, and I recently started on our Slack after like 3 years. So I was like, damn, like Aaron, like it's good to see you in person. But that's sort of how we validated our approach to begin with, right? It's like, how do we bridge academics with industry? So we created this program at the time that, we evolved throughout the 5 years. But the whole idea was like, through this project, we would model it after a tech internship, which was where sort of a lot of our founders' backgrounds came from. So that's about like proposing your own design, seeing it end to end, getting it implemented. And usually that makes like a very stellar case study. And obviously this isn't just credit to myself. We're working with an amazing coach team. Could I have all the coaches here? Could I also quickly wave? So they'll be doing their self intros. They lead the team end to end. They treat it like their own portfolio piece too. Like they're super, super committed. So they're bridging like that management role with the members. And they ship amazing things in their work too. Very, very cutting edge. And then of course we have our really amazing cohort founders, which we also all interview, right? So if you talk to their backgrounds, they're like crazy successful people. We have like Jing and Nancy there. I think I saw some, like we have our boys in the back, right? Like we have Alec, Garrett. I think we saw some other cohort people too. I'm not going to name drop everyone, but they've all been amazing, right? And a lot of them actually like kind of know that like this process that you're going through is almost like investment in your career, because as you award your, as you go through your cohort, a lot of them are actually thinking about like hiring and staffing you. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a sec. Also, like I didn't find a picture of homie, so I put like a really handsome picture of you. So yeah. So that's essentially how all our alumni system and everything ties together, right? Like we have our alumni help our future members. We try to make everything as transparent as possible, like literally before joining the cohort. Unlike a boot camp where you don't know what the hell is going on, it's like we let you observe everything. We let you like listen in. Like we try to make this like a very exclusive but transparent experience. So all this has evolved throughout the years. Every cohort, we try to make things even better. And we've really built something that's so fine-tuned that everyone has the opportunity to put 200%. So we literally have cohort members that are flying in or traveling from very far places just to do this demo today. And we've worked with more and more high-profile founders that honestly, every founder I think is working on something really cool and amazing. But we've consistently worked with like top 0.1% founders that are super committed to their passion, their mission. And that's sort of how we've shaped this whole program together. And then I, of course, want to quickly shout out like the achievements of all our members. They've landed like very, very amazing big tech offers, even in this like pretty tough job environment. But it's not just all about like big tech, right? Like a lot of folks are appreciating like small startups and cute niche work environments and teams more and more. And we have amazing clients like homies where, like through working with us, they get to see the value of design and they want to actually invest in building their own design team and start the first hire from cohort members. So I also want to give a quick like round of applause to, team homies. So doing amazing work there. And finally, I want to like just wrap everything up by saying like, at the end of the day, this is not just about us. I really don't want to stand here and present this to make all of you feel like we are like the best or like, like all the credit is ours. I always want to end by saying that we reward the hard work and excellence of everyone who's working hard. So the folks, and this is a picture we just took today with one of the cohort and coaches working together. They were still practicing their presentation like an hour before this. So I thought it was so cute. So I just grabbed a picture. It's really about the hard work of yourselves. So that's what we want to celebrate today. And always remember, like if you land your dream job or if you feel like you learn a lot, maybe you become a founder yourself, like that credit is to yourself. We're just here to support you and make you the best designer you can possibly be. The credit is not ours. So that's what we want to celebrate with all of you today. So we're going to celebrate cohort 19's kickoff again, like super amazing founder profile as always. And we'll start that by showing all the cohort 18 demos. So without further ado, let's rock and roll. This is a quick schedule of who's going to go first. And Amy, I'll hand it to you to do super quick self intros and have your team present after.
Okay.
Let's give it up for Amy.
Hello. Everyone, I'm going to make this really quick because we're running behind, but my name is Amy. I'm a coach with UXGO. I'm also a product designer at Microsoft. So I kind of have an interesting background because I studied architecture in school. So I have a very multidisciplinary background in design. And currently my team at Microsoft works on AI and cybersecurity. And I have different experiences in ed tech, design agencies, freelance, and big tech. I went to Rice School of Architecture. So I was the coach for Team Homies, who we have Garrett and Alec here today. So basically, a little context on teamwork together. The team spends about 3 or 4 hours together every week, working together with me and also with the workshop, et cetera, et cetera. And they also spend countless hours after that working together as well. So also we have like a 30 minutes to 1 hour meeting with our clients every week as well. So it was a lot of hard work paid off. You can see some of the preliminary sketches to what became something more final and great. So a little bit about Homies. So Homies is a life sharing program that connects people with disabilities, or what we call homies, with their caregivers, or called supportive roommates. So they help them in their daily lives to live more independently. So this was started in California. It's a really good cause. All about accessibility and connecting people together. So that's kind of an overview, but my team will share a little bit more about the product that we are building. Oh, oops. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the presentation, and my team is all online. So feel free to unmute everybody and start. I'll be running the presentation. We might need to test some audio.
Hey, can everybody hear me?
Perfect. Yes, it's working.
Okay, hi, so I'll be starting off the first part of our presentation for Homies. You can go to the next slide. So hi, I'm Nikki, and this is our team. So everybody's online right now. We couldn't make it in person, but hi.
Hi. Hello.
I'm a little nervous. Okay, next slide, please. So, Amy did a little quick intro already, but to share a little bit about Homies and the clients we signed for, and what they do, they're a life-sharing program that connects people with disabilities, usually autistic or neurodivergent individuals, and we call them Homies, and they connect them to their caregivers, which we call supportive roommates, and these supportive roommates help them in their daily lives to help them live more independently. So next slide, please. For this project, we worked on it for around 3 to 4 months with our 6-member team, most of us not in California, and our team member who unfortunately could not make it today because he's in Switzerland and is in a completely opposite time zone. So it was a tough hurdle to go over, but we did it. So our goal for this project was to design a matching experience that connects homies and their supportive roommates together, and redesigning their dashboard meant for the homie and their roommate to check in daily. Our goal for this project was to, the process that we went through in these 10 weeks included research, defining a design direction, ideation, designing solutions, usability testing, and finally design handoff. We did things like audits, interviews, and analysis that I'll be going through this presentation. So let's get right into it. The first step of figuring out how to design is doing proper research. So one of the first things we did to conduct independent research on the Homies existing platform, their demo MVP. And the goal of this was to analyze the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities through a designer lens and familiarize ourselves with the kind of design our clients maybe wanted to head towards. So the next slide, the main key points we found from this was that the original design at times used difficult terminology, especially for autistic users, and was a bit lengthy. And on the dashboard screens themselves, there was not much visual hierarchy and limited customization options for the list of tasks. And they also explored gamification, so using XP points and leadership board, but it was not fully fledged out, and there was a hard time figuring out how to make it fair. And there should be a next slide. And not enough motivating and stimulating visuals in general. And so these were just some of the main points we found from the design audit. And then next we got into identifying our users. So here we have some of the user personas. Are two types of users for the project. One is the homie, the other is a supportive roommate. So the homie persona might be someone disabled with autism and has been living with his family his entire life, and his goal is to live more independently and thrive in society by enlarging his social circle. And some of his frustrations is not being able to keep up with his tasks he needs to do daily, such as brushing his teeth, making his bed, drinking water. And a homie seeks support from either a platform or his supportive roommate to help him keep on track with these tasks. And a supportive roommate is the homie's roommate that can act as both a friend and a caregiver. They look for ways to help the homies succeed in their daily tasks and help incorporate them better into society. And so to better understand these users, we conducted interviews with 8 groups of users. The groups mostly being the homie and the supportive roommate, and some being one or the other, and some having multiple homies. And our user interviews consisted of asking the groups about what their roommate matching experience was like and kinds of things they sought for in a roommate, and conducting a walkthrough of the demo MVP. And these are some of the things they said. So these quotes highlight certain actions that they had trouble with or wanted to do while navigating that demo MVP. And many included having trouble adding and editing tasks and not being able to backtrack to certain tasks of a certain day. So we did the design audit and user interviews, but what did we learn? This is where we did some affinity mapping to organize our insights. We took our design audit insights, next slide, and our user interview insights, and created a total of 12 categories. For this project, we focused on the 3 categories that we thought most aligned with both the user and client needs. The first one being matching and onboarding. This category focused on designing for the process that connects and matches the homie and roommate together. Through this design audit, we gathered that the matching and onboarding experience could use simpler terminology. And through the user interviews, we found that some of the users were already acquaintances with their roommate, which was something that we made sure to implement into our design, which you will see later. And also that users wanted to know enough about their roommate before matching for both compatibility and safety reasons. Another category was task management, which was the bulk of our project. For both the design audit and user interviews, we found that there was a need for visual hierarchy for the list of tasks that users make, a way for them to efficiently edit, add, customize, and view their tasks, as well as good accountability system for the homie and supportive roommate. And lastly, our gamification category was formed by realizing that the users needed a way to keep up engagement with the platform, a way to keep them motivated about completing their tasks in a forgiving way that doesn't punish them for every little setback. And gamification in our design also included sprinkling friendly visuals throughout our design solution, like this fun mascot that you've been seeing throughout the presentation. And you'll also see later even more in our design solution. So defining our design direction, we had 3 categories, and our team split into 3 teams to work on the design solutions for each of them. Also aligning with our design direction, we did a competitive analysis on platforms that had matching experiences, task management, and gamification features that analyzed the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities that we could take, avoid, or inspire for our own design. These helped lead us into our next step of our design process, which was ideating and brainstorming design ideas. I'll be handing it over to Mahmuda for her to do the next half of the presentation.
Thank you. Oh wait, Mahmuda, before you get started, we're kind of like low on time, so if you can speed it up a little bit, that would be wonderful. But no, for sure, it's okay. It's high level, just yeah.
Got it. All right. So now I'm going to talk about ideation and design solution. So our design journey started with a fun and fast-paced activity called Crazy Eights. Basically, we sketch as many activities as we could in just 8 minutes. So our 3 focus areas, as Nikki mentioned, some of the ideas that came out of this activity were customizable profiles, progress bars, and motivational rewards. It was exciting to see that these sketches set the foundation for what we built later on. Moving on to lo-fi sketches for matching and onboarding, we wanted to make this process feel personal, inclusive, and accessible. So we focused on personalized profiles where users could add preferences like daily routines and living habits, which was crucial because as we learned, these matches aren't just about roommates, they're about building meaningful connections. We added background checks, which was key for creating trust and safety within the platform. Location matching, where we heard loud and clear from users that proximity is a priority. So we made it central to the matching flow. We also included voiceover support, visual cues, and step-by-step onboarding process to make it all simple and intuitive. So enhancing profiles by adding more details like habits and interests, make them feel richer. So for the task, we added a visual task identification where we used icons, color-coded categories, and descriptions so users could understand task at a glance. We added scheduling and adjusting tasks like calendar views and adjustable timestamps, which allowed users to plan and make changes easily, and encouragement through feedback. So motivational messages and fun fact cues were added to inspire users without making them feel pressured. We going on to the progress page. Now, the progress page came directly from client feedback. They suggested we separate progress tracking from task page to give it its own dedicated space. So we included mood check-ins, which was a way for users to reflect on their well-being, task summaries, and reflection prompts, which were important for both users and supportive roommates to give feedback and celebrate small wins. For the gamification, we aim to keep things fun and rewarding, but not overwhelming. So interactive progress bars, rewards and batches, and customizable avatars, which was inspired directly by our user feedback. And yeah, this gave users something personal and fun to work towards. Going on to our design system and components. So we stuck with Homie's vibrant purple to reflect warmth and inclusivity. The task card, so each status, like completed, upcoming, or attention task has its own distinct color and labels for clarity. For example, like our expired task, they had their own distinction. The needs approval task, if you can, sorry, Amy, if you can just go through the task. Yeah. The skip task, the completed task, all of them matching through with the avatar, with the selected avatars as well. For navigation bars, we designed 2 versions, one for onboarding with tabs for matching and profiles, and the main navigation bars with tabs for task progress and profiles tailored specifically for homies and supportive roommates. Going on to our high fidelity design solution. So for matching and onboarding, we made sure to put the personalized profiles and low pressure interactions to help users feel comfortable and understood. Going on to the task page where we added task where they're able to schedule a task and allow for feedback flows. It was simplified for ease of use. Supportive roommates were also able to approve or deny tasks to maintain accountability, which was also given from client feedback and reiterations. Going on to the gamification design solution, the avatar customization and rewards kept users engaged and motivated without adding stress, and it was also added to the bottom of the task page. So our usability testing, we tested with the same users we interviewed earlier, and their feedback was overwhelmingly positive. They said the designs were intuitive and made sense to use. We reiterated on the add and edit task flow, introducing a 2-step stepper so users could clearly see their inputs like icons, timestamps, and repeating tasks. So our outcomes and reflections, our clients said that we definitely exceeded their expectations, and it was thoughtful, inclusive, and it just makes sense. So we felt accomplished doing all this within 10 weeks and redesigning the whole app. And also it was very much of a blessing for all of us to create a community-focused, accessible platform for a better cause. So now our next steps is further testing and iteration to refine the experience even more.
Okay, thank you so much, Mahmuda. Let's give it up. It's really hard for them to do it virtually. And then huge shout out to our homies team in the back too. We'll welcome you guys back up for like a fireside panel QA in a bit. But just to keep the ball rolling, Adam and Hannah, if you can get your team ready, and we'll let you two do quick intros. So that was a great project example. And one thing I wanted to sort of touch upon after now that they finished the presentation was almost every single member on their team, other than that one person they mentioned who was in a different time zone, had zero prior product and UX experience coming in. So they were all super interested to see what they could learn, even when starting from absolutely zero. So not only for them did we cover all the theory, we showed them how to use Figma, we showed them everything you can possibly think of to setting things up properly that their wonderful developers could actually start handing off into MVP. So it has been a very, very good experience that I really want to give a huge shout out to Amy for helping this team with no prior experience coming in and do something so wonderful. Switching back to our Hachi team, Hannah and Adam, could I invite you two up for quick intros first? And then we'll invite the team.
Hello, everyone. I'm Hannah. I'm the co-founder of UXGO and also the coach of UXGO. So for Hachi project, I'm kind of taking the role of leading the team for UX research section. And I'm UX designer at Epic Games Fortnite team. Also, I did some like design lead at a fintech startup before. So really into gaming industry and also the whole design things. I'm gonna hand it over to Adam, who is leading the whole design section with the Hachi project.
Hello, everyone. I'm Adam. That's me. So I'm a product designer at LinkedIn working on the premium experience. And previously, I've done some work at Twitch and Tesla and Facebook as well. So a lot of the different industries. Before this life as a designer, I was actually a national fencer in Malaysia. So if any fencers here, let me know if you want to go and duel outside. But yeah, let's get on with.
This is a side flex for him. He's competing in the Olympics, right? Am I right?
That's on track, but hopefully we make it.
Let's go. So let's welcome everyone from Team Hachi. We have folks to present in person, and of course we have the wonderful clients there as well. So this presentation is for the two of you, but also for everyone. And for this team, who else was the other person? Oh yeah, Amy, you can come up. I'll let the three of you do like really just a one-line intro, like where you're studying right now, and like your name, and then I'll switch the slides for you. So Erjing, we can start with you.
No problem. Hi everyone, my name's Hi everyone, my name's Erjing. Currently, I'm a fourth year psychology PhD student at UCLA, and glad to be here.
Hello everyone, my name is Maria, and I'm a graduate of UX design at Savannah College of Art and Design. Nice to meet you all.
Hello everyone, my name is Amy, and I'm studying in Indiana University and master and SCI degree program, and I used to work in software company on product marketing, and nice to meet you all.
Okay, so for this team, if you're like a designer sort of interested, I think this is a wonderful team to kind of hear from, like that has a very different background from Team Homies. Instead of complete beginners, they all have strong HCI backgrounds in master's or PhD. And Hachi is a super wonderful project because it starts off really ambiguous. There's so much possibilities. So it's really about helping the founders narrow down. I'll also let the two founders just really quickly say hi in intro because they're looking at me and smiling. So yeah, I'll let you two both quickly say hi.
Hi everyone. My name is Jing. I'm one of the founders of Hachi. Really great to meet all of you. And one thing I shared also Liang earlier is that I had very little design knowledge before the whole program. So it's actually such a wonderful learning experience for me as well. And it's a fantastic team. I got so many ideas and inspirations from the team. Yeah, so wonderful to be here.
And my name is Nancy. I'm also one of the co-founders of Hachi.
and why are we doing both? And have about 15 years of experience at Google and Stripe prior to founding Hachi. And it's been really awesome working with the whole team. Yeah, they've been all amazing.
All right, thank you both so much. So let's see what this strong sort of research and design presentation can be like. Yeah. No, it's just and I think when we present, Adam had a good point. It's like the three of you can stand a little bit on this side, so that screen is not covered. Who's starting the presentation, by the way? Okay, and you can control the side yourself, or do you want Adam to control it?
I think Ada was
Okay.
No problem. Hi everyone, my name is Erjing. So today I'm here to present our project with Hachi AI. So we have two fantastic coaches, who are Hannah and Adam, and fantastic clients help us and offer us great help and support throughout the process. As a UX researcher, I'm working with a team of best designers who are Maria, Amy here, and also Sabrina, Kim, and Michelle, who's joining us online today. So we're gonna start with some of the briefly introducing the background for this project, and then share some of the research insights we have collected, and then dive deeper into design system or design process we have. So people, when you have a question, for example, why is my puppy scared of other dogs, and turn to a search engine to look for answers, you typically see something like this. And then you just go over results line by line, until you're tired. So it's actually not bad. However, users from or get overwhelmed by all this information to find what they need. And many of them are just general recommendations. And soon it may be harder to decide and lead to analysis paralysis. So basically what we're doing right now is just open ChatGPT and then click. And then you just type the question you want to ask. Similarly, why is my puppy afraid of other dogs? And then you don't need to wait for too much time because the answer comes up instantly. Basically, now you can have like faster results, and also they're more digestible, and then provide solution to you right away. So with AI, basically it gives users more relevant results swiftly. However, the problem is, I would say it's really boring, right? Because basically some paragraphs. That's why Hachi was created. For that. And at the beginning of the project, the founders of Hachi, Nancy and Jing here, basically come up to us and explain to us what is Hachi. And Hachi basically is a search engine which people can get fun, creative responses every time when they have a question. And then you just explore the answers from different personality, from different characters, and users have the chance to refine their search through engaging conversations. And there are two specific requests Nancy and Jing come up to, which are talking about validate Hachi's users and enhance the UX and UI design. So basically, to better accommodate or accomplish two requests, we start with the UX research. But what research would be most helpful? First of all, we start with the competitor analysis, because basically they can help us understand how is the market and what user needs have been and have not been met. And then moving on to primary research, survey help identify target audiences and preliminary insights about user goals and needs. The user interviews give us in-depth insights. And lastly, for the UX audit, it tells us about the pain points and also the strengths of the current design. So in total, we did over 15 user interviews and more than 50 surveys, which result in over 200 data points. You don't know how hard to get that in psychology. And then start with target audiences. Who's Hachi for? Basically, Hachi is for digital natives whose age is between 16 to 28, and they prefer unique perspective-driven insight over generic suggestions, such as this offered by ChatGPT. And also, these users prefer bite-sized, low-effort curiosity things to satisfy their needs. And what opportunity did we identify for Hachi through the secondary research? Basically, unlike most competitors, that only offer generic one-to-one chats with AI. Hachi stands out because you can talk to different characters who have different personality and give you unique suggestions. Also, one effective strategy we found is that competitors use a lot of things to grow engagement and retention by encouraging users to save and share conversation, which we think will be helpful and applicable to Hachi as well. Then talk about primary research. From the survey and interview, we found that to make user search experiences more fun and engaging, users prefer characters that have unique personality. And basically you are having a conversation with your friends. It's meaningful and fun chats. And lastly, user value opportunities that help personalize outputs and also evaluate recommendation, because it can help make the recommendation more personalized and tailored to their needs as time passes. So all this research insights are in alignment with the founder's vision for Hachi. Now I'll let Maria to be the guide to show you our journey about the design system.
Hello. Thank you, Erjing, for that. So with the research insights and a clear understanding of Hachi's users, we turned towards solving Hachi's second request, which was to improve the UX and UI of their chat feature. And we asked ourselves, how might we design Hachi to enable flexible conversations and personalized recommendations, making search enjoyable and encouraging so users can share their experiences? And the way that we tackled this was first by doing a UX audit of their most recent prototype. And let me walk you through it. So this is their old UX. A user logs in, he asks you a question, I answer it, he's thinking right now. And he's saying, where am I based? I'm based in New York right now. And then he gives me 3 choices. But then we noticed a couple things about this. The questionnaire format felt very limiting. You could only choose A, B, or C. And on top of that, for certain questions, you have to go through the same loop 1 or 5 times. And this made the process too long. And now, once I provide answers to the Hachi, he thinks, and then he gives me 4 answers. You can see he says you should visit Studio 145. He said that you can visit East Williamsburg. And lastly, he said that you can visit the Hoxton Williamsburg. However, we noticed that sometimes the answers didn't really match the questions we asked. And if you wanted to tweak the answers or change them, because let's say I don't want to visit Studio 145, I didn't have the option to change that. So how did we tackle these problems? Well, we didn't jump straight into wireframing, that's for sure. Instead, we took a step back, analyzed the UX flow, and focused on solving the main problem first. And that was the old UX flow, which was the questionnaire. And it was super restrictive, and having to go through that process 1 to 5 times made it feel like it was just way too much effort. So it could be pretty discouraging. So with that in mind, we proposed a new UX flow. It's a question and answer loop where the user asks Hachi a question, Hachi responds, the user can refine the query and then ask again. And the cycle repeats itself until the user is happy and delivers faster results and makes the interactions feel a lot more natural. Now, after a ton of ideation and brainstorming, followed by wireframing from low fidelity to high fidelity, I'm excited and proud to share our finalized prototype. Here you can see that you can choose between 4 Hachis: Deadpool, Chirp, Fang, and yeah. But for the sake of this prototype, we'll be talking to Deadpool. And let's say you don't know what to say. So here's some prompts to start off the conversations, but I will be starting my own topic. I asked Deadpool, hey, do you have any movie recommendations for me? And he says, absolutely, he has. And he recommends, wait for it, Deadpool, Deadpool, and Deadpool. Oh, and before I continue this conversation, a feature that I'd like to highlight are the text input and the answer prompts. This supports our question and answer flow, making the experience more intuitive and open-ended. So, next. So we continue the conversation. I ask him again some more movie recommendations, and this time he gives me some more. He gives me Princess Bride. He gives me The Notebook, and he gives me X-Men Origins. I like this movie. So I'll click the sharing icon. And this feature allows users to share Hachi's fun answers. This increases engagement and interaction. I'm going to exit out of here. And then if you click down on this drop-down menu, this lets users, especially advanced users, switch between Hachi's answers. And this allows them to quickly explore different perspectives. And this is Wolverine giving me his movie recommendations. So let's say I want to go back and talk to Deadpool. An icon appears. It shows that users can add multiple Hachis to a conversation and allows advanced users to seamlessly switch between them, continuing the conversation. And if I click right here, users can quickly view their chat history and see which Hachis are a part of their conversation. Now, I'm going to go back to my previous conversation with Hachi, where we talked about food lists. And one feature that I'd like to really highlight here is Hachi Reacts. This honestly just helps add more personality to Hachi, something users really value, according to our research. And another thing I like to highlight about this is that it helps Hachi improve their learning model for each character, furthering personalization. Now that we've uncovered all of Hachi's features, let's take a look at how users reacted during the testing conducted by our stakeholders. Well, first off, the clients told us that users loved the new UX flow way better since it gave them instant value compared to the old questionnaire style. One user even said, it used to feel like I have to answer a ton of questions, but with the new UX flow, it helped me understand the purpose of Hachi right away. And another feature that really stood out to users and was highly loved was the group chat, which our stakeholders reported doubled the number of user-initiated conversations during testing. One user even said, it's so much more fun with multiple Hachis, definitely better than the last version. So to wrap up, after reflecting on these 10 weeks of work, this experience taught us to design AI that feels personalized, responsive, and fun. And it taught us that we learned how to craft intuitive conversations for AI. We learned how to make AI more distinct by giving them personalities. And finally, we learned how to blend playful interactions with practical usability to create an overall engaging experience. So with that, thank you for listening to Erjing, me, and Hachi talk about experiences and efforts in the last 10 weeks. Thank you.
And also we have some stickers prepared with Hachi. If you like to take a souvenir for Hachi AI, please do so. I will just spread the sticker on the table. But thank you everyone for listening to us. Please, we pick our favorite one.
So Jen, you can have your team start setting up, but I'll have the camera crew over here really quickly. Y'all can grab stickers in a sec. We were all chatting, so like, you know, I haven't been as engaged. I've been doing my own startup and different things, but now checking back with UXGO, like I was so surprised by the quality of that presentation, especially Adam. Like I know this is the first time you're leading a cohort. I know you're a really cracked designer and storyteller, but that presentation was insane, especially for a team that had a strong research background. Like that is such an amazing execution. I want to also hear from like your two reactions because the three of us were like in shock the whole time. But Nancy, what were your thoughts?
Well, I think I leaned over to Leon in the middle. I was like, I should use that for our pitch deck. It was so great. I loved it. Thank you guys.
Yeah, likewise. It's mind blowing. We saw some of the moves before already. I want to keep talking about it, especially we're talking about like it's making so immersive. We never saw that two details about the immersively. Like when you tweak this, is we step back and then the thing change and you could swipe it and then switching the thing. It's like the storytelling, visual storytelling to the next level. Pretty cool. Yeah. Great job, team.
Okay, so I'll end by saying also for your team, you're all in good hands because you have two of the most cracked technical founders, like from leading the engineering at like Google, YouTube, and things like that. So if they, like they have trouble implementing it, just makes them look bad at this point. So you guys got that. I'll say 2 points of reactions because we know have a lot of designers also trying to probably look for jobs, build their presentations. No pressure for the cohort 19 folks, but I think they set a really good example on how to take and present like a very ambiguous project, narrow down scope, present something that's both a conceptual North Star that is also have immediate MVP elements. One other thing I want to mention is I think Adam, Jen, Hannah, like all these coaches we have here, like we've been all very successful in our own early careers, like we've all interned at big tech and things like that. But that presentation is definitely very strong for going into interviews. But if you're going like into portfolio, like putting stuff online, definitely want to think about what content to cut, because it might be too long for like looking through portfolio. Last note I will say is, I think all of you can also use that as like a networking thing, because people will be interested to hear like how you approach and solve the problem. That would be a great opportunity to say like, oh, this is something I've worked on. Let me tell you like a story about it. So it's a very good story presentation deck. And a little bit, I think if we have a little bit of time, I also want to add is like Adam is very good at these storytelling things. In my own past, like I think some of you might know, like I'm probably one of the youngest design leads in big tech. Like even before I graduated, when I just graduated, I landed like a senior offer. And I was very lucky to get like 300 KTCs like right after like undergrad. So even from that perspective, like if I was competing with y'all, I would be scared because that was how good the storytelling was. Like I learned a lot just by watching how you all presented, ask questions, and it's really hard in person too, because like nowadays when you job hunt, it's like all over Zoom. So keep that energy up. Like people would love it. And the really like the storytelling for that one, I just want to emphasize is like top tier. So great work, guys. Okay, Jen, I'll leave it back to you. Okay, Jen, you can do your quick intro and I'll have your team really quickly introduce themselves too. Yes.
Hi, everyone. Great job to the team before. That was really great to see. I'm Jennifer. I'm currently also a product designer at Microsoft. I work on one of the first Gen AI creation tools that Microsoft is pushing out. And there's a lot of like 0 to 1 process as well. So I was like bringing that insight also into our classes and stuff. And previously I led 2 UXO classes, including this one we're presenting. Both are like AI powered tools and projects. So yeah, I'm definitely like excited for everyone to see our presentation. Previously, I also worked at TikTok on the AR effects house platform, and also I tried like crypto projects. So I always like to try the most like emerging tech projects, just for like who doesn't like new stuff. Previously, I graduated from USC, from IBM Young Academy, and now I guess this photo is like me learning to DJ, having fun on the side. But our product today is Butternut AI. And we'll let the team do the intro, but please give them, hype them up. Thanks.
I can just do this one.
We have the 3 of you really quickly self-intro, like your name.
Yeah.
And your name at least.
Hi, my name is Timo, and I'm one of the designers here. I have previous experience working in nonprofits and also a recent startup.
Hi, my name is Prince, and I also have previous experience in a design agency.
Hi, my name is Christine, and I've previously worked at electrical engineering and some fintech places.
So before we start, I know like these presentations have been long, so this will be the last one. We originally had a panel fireside talk left with the founders, but we'll try to cut that short because I know all of you want to network and chat with different people. So we'll try to get to that as fast as we can. Again, I really appreciate everyone's like full attention, listening to them present. So thank you, everyone.
All right, so before we jump into all the work, I just want to shout out our teammates. Preeti and Raksha aren't here today because they're in the East Coast, so they couldn't fly all the way out, but they're probably online. So just want to give them a quick shout out. And I want to just survey the room. I want to see how many of you guys have a website. Could be a portfolio business. Okay, pretty cool. So you probably fall into one of these categories. You're a designer or engineer who's built your own website, or you don't know how to do it, so you paid someone to do it. Or if you don't have the money, then you spend some time on YouTube DIYing things, and before you know it, it's 3 a.m. and you're watching Planet Earth videos. But if you're in the second two categories, then Butternut is the tool for you. So imagine this, you just open up the website, you type in the name of your business and the prompt. Is it not playing? Oh, it's supposed to be a GIF. Oh no, I guess they don't work. Okay, well, this is just demoing what it's like when you're, oh. Okay, we'll just roll with it. There's GIFs throughout the presentation, but yeah. So this is just demoing the product and how in the beginning you enter the name of your business as well as a short description. And then within 20 seconds, you have your whole website done. It's with images, AI generated design and text as well. So it's pretty cool, right? But then it also comes with some challenges. So while it delivered on speed, some of the designs became really repetitive. And that's something that we noticed. After you generate a couple of sites, they all begin to look kind of the same. And they also look a little bit outdated. So the client came to us asking if we could bring a more modern and polished feel to their editor and also the websites that they output. But this was a really general request. And so we wanted to get a little bit more specific. So we did some UXR and we studied some competitors, did some user interviews, collected a lot of data. And we really wanted to answer what's stopping users from achieving their dream website. Like, is it just because like the website design doesn't look good in the end, or are there other factors that also contribute to this? And we found that the issues kind of fell into these core categories. So usability of AI, discoverability of tools, and satisfaction of design output. Now, the business goal was clear. We wanted to improve user satisfaction with their final website and therefore increase the number of websites that are published, which leads to more paying customers for the business. And so we framed our how might we improve the website editor experience and usability of AI to help non-technical business owners effortlessly design a website that they're proud to publish. And so we, for our scope of work, we prioritize these two categories, usability of AI and discoverability of tools, because improving these would also lead to improvements in onboarding and the satisfaction of design too. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Christine to share more about usability of AI.
Thanks, Timo. Okay, so one thing about working with AI is that regardless of its capabilities, a bad prompt will usually generate bad results. If you used Gen AI tool before, you'll know that there's a learning curve. You need to know how to prompt it to get the results that you want. And this case was no different for Butternut. We found that users were good at imagining their dream website in conceptual terms, but they struggled to find the technical words to describe it. Web design terms like cards, columns, and border radius, they don't come naturally to them. Instead, they'll say things like, can you put them in one line? Or make this corner a little bit rounder. For Butternut's AI, we found that some formats required full sentence descriptions, others required keywords, and neither really had clear instructions on what input was needed. This caused users to rethink how to write their prompts every time they switch between these tools. Because of this, we need to bridge the communication gap and address these inconsistencies in order to give users control and confidence in using Butternut's AI. A specific example of this was the initial site generation. Users didn't know the appropriate amount to write and the types of details to include in their prompt. We improved clarity by adding example sites to Butternut's landing page. From there, users can either modify these example prompts or use them as references to create their own site. And this helped accomplish two things. It gave users a visual preview of what sites are possible to create with Butternut and what kind of prompts are needed to get that end result. Another one of Butternut's core features is AI Assist, a chatbot where users can enter prompts to build and edit out sections for their site. Previously, it felt like a one-sided conversation. For example, after every prompt execution, AI Assist would respond back with just done. Now, after some changes, we improved AI Assist to respond conversationally, giving real-time feedback and a clear explanation of all its actions. We also added a library of prompt examples and live suggestions so that users don't always have to know the right thing to say. However, a major constraint of this feature was that its output could only be edited through the chat interface. And this was a dark UX pattern because it restricted users' manual control and they weren't even aware of it. From our last round of testing, users loved the redesign and said it could even be their favorite feature, but only if the technical constraints would be addressed. Luckily, Butternut plans to work on this next month. And now I'm going to hand it off to Prince to share about how we improve the discoverability of tools.
Thanks, Christine. So while improving AI interactions is crucial, they're no help to users if they can't find them. Our research showed that users were getting lost in the interface. So our next major challenge was making the editor's layout more intuitive. Let's talk about how the tools are laid out. So before our redesign, there was one toolbar on the top for some actions and other tools appeared when the user hovered over specific website elements. The client felt strongly about making it feel as if users were editing directly on the website. However, this came with some problems. Tools are scattered throughout the interface, relied on hover interactions, and had inconsistent labeling. Users were left to find features for themselves, which meant longer learning curves and potential platform abandonment. It was kind of like an Easter egg hunt that they didn't sign up for. To address this, we reorganized the editor into two main categories of tools, universal and contextual. The universal tools are used to edit the entire website. So things like change theme, brand identity, site pages, etc. Before, these large menus would pop up over your website and cover what you were trying to edit. Moving them to a dedicated left sidebar made them accessible and unobtrusive to the main canvas. Contextual tools edit more specific parts of the site. So things like text, images, sections, and the navigation bar. Originally, we planned to house all editing tools on the left menu, but because the client still wanted most of the editing to be directly on the website, we redesigned Butternut's existing object UI to be draggable so that the user's workflow wouldn't be disrupted. Our user testing showed promising results. All participants found the interface intuitive and understood the universal tools, meeting our goals of creating a non-intimidating experience for non-technical users. And with that, I'll pass it back to Timo.
All right, so another feature that we prioritized was change theme to address the user feedback about limited customization and repetitive website designs. So rather than simply adding more color and typography options, we completely rebuilt Butternut's theme structure to enhance flexibility while maintaining consistency. So some key improvements included creating a mini design system with variables and tokens to allow for flexible themes in both light and dark modes. And then we use this system to create a set of preset themes, which are curated font and color pairings. And then these are represented in the main menu as cards that the users can quickly browse through and switch through to test out different themes, and then they can dive in deeper to customize further if they want to. So in addition, we wanted to help users maintain design consistency across their website. And so in these contexts where they might do some more detailed editing with colors, we chose to resurface their theme colors here. So this redesign created a scalable design system that both simplifies the user experience and also enables more sophisticated theme development that Butternut can now continue to build on and add more variation in designs. And now users also don't have to spend endless hours on choosing the perfect font or the perfect color. So the overall rating for this feature was 4 out of 5, and users overall had a very positive impression about the themes that were provided. Now, most of this work has not shipped, so we don't have very specific metrics to share with you, but from our usability tests, we had very promising results. And so our final overall score for our designs was 4.3 out of 5, which is a good improvement from 2.7 out of 5 in our very first test with the original product. But beyond just the product itself, we are most excited about the impact on small business owners. So one study in 2023 said that there are 23.5% of small business owners who don't have a website, but they want one. And we hope that Butternut can become the perfect tool for this group of people. Another way that we impacted the team was we created a design system for them. So actually, even though the product was live, they didn't have their design system documented anywhere. It was just in one designer's head. And so we took the time to look through their product, identified different inconsistencies in the UI, and documented them, improved them, so they could be consistent all throughout the product. And now this is the foundation that designers and engineers can go off of together. So now this was all work that was done in 10 weeks, but if we had more time, we would have loved to explore more ways to expand AI assist capabilities, as well as ways that we could further help users in their editing process. And for example, one idea that we had was like a sandbox where there could be a dummy site that they have and they can test out new features there instead of worrying about messing up their actual website. And this presentation is just a snapshot of all the work that we did. We actually redesigned a lot of their core editing features. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can also talk to any one of us after. And lastly, we just want to say thank you. So this is our whole team. But yeah, we just want to say thank you to Butternut and UXGO for this amazing opportunity. We learned a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Okay, really great work, everyone. So we're close to wrapping up. Thank you all for your time. Final notes I'll say for this team is like, this product is extremely high profile. So I think there's close to like 200K users seeing it already. And their design work is done in a very strategic way that at times, you know, with such engineering strong heavy team with like 15 developers, I think they were able to pitch and then handle client pushback really well. At certain times, like if you're working for a startup or if you're an up and coming designer, if you're early in your career, you might not feel comfortable, right? Like the client might tell you to do this and it's like very small, right? I remember at one point they were like just saying like, oh, you guys are doing such a good job with the color palettes. How about just make me 30 more, you know, which at times you might not believe, but at big tech, that's what you end up doing. When I was staff designer for Shopify before, we worked on an AI product very similar to this. One of the things I did was that color palette thing, you know, so it's like, that is actually important. But I think the way you're able to take that, talk to the client, present your own ideas, convince the client, that's super impressive. So again, just huge shout out to this team. One more round of applause. Since we started a bit late, I think everyone already had a lot of opportunity to network, chat and mingle. We are going to start helping clean up and sort of move people out of this space at around 7:45, which is coming close. At 8, okay, yeah. But before that, I want us to all like get a picture together before we forget. Grace, what do you recommend? Like, where should we all move to? Maybe around here. How does that, photographers, does that sound good? Okay, so we'll move all around sort of like the sofa area. And then if you're tuning in live or watching the recording, hopefully, you know, you learned some stuff. It's funny to end on this slide with everyone's face, but I will just change to one slide we have prepared, which is checking out some more Design Buddies UXGO stuff. We have lots of announcements for you, but we'll be ending the live stream now. Thank you, everyone. Jeremy, feel free to close it off. And let's start setting up for pictures. So, all right, everyone, let's start moving.
This is Long Bunny, by the way. Oh.
Jeremy, is it okay for me to turn it off?
Oh my God.
See you guys.
Okay. Okay. Okay, you can direct everyone a little bit. I'll give you the
Yes. That one's 8:30. It's over. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for wanting to get into the photo. I'm gonna need everyone to come towards over here. So if you guys can come towards the lounge area where all the sofas are at.
And
And
let's have all the client coaches and cohort people at the front. So Jing, Nancy,